I didn't ask for that.
No, I'm not talking about math. I'm talking about beer, bud.
Jonesy and Ray, just wondering.
Welcome back to Just Wondering podcast, where we will surprise each other with whatever topics come to mind. We literally know nothing and have made a rule to never research before recording, so buckle up.
We're your hosts. I'm Jones.
And I'm Ray. And Jones, I was just wondering about New Year's resolutions.
It is a new year. I did not make any resolutions because I was pretty grumpy going into the New Year's. Not that I typically make resolutions anyway. You know, the typical, it's like, I'm going to try to eat healthier. But I've been telling myself that for like 8 years.
I don't think it has to be something that is like recurring every day or like a habit that you're trying to form. I feel like a good one for you would be, I'm going to end 2021 better than how I started it. If you were so grumpy for the first few days, you could just be like, I'm just going to make the year get better from this point.
True. Maybe I subconsciously was like, I'm just going to start out this year at like a real low so that it just gets better.
Exactly. Like that would be hard for it to not be resolute by the end of the year. Is that how you say it? I don't know. It will be hard for you to not complete that. If you started off 2021 really badly, likely by the end of the year, you're going to be like, yeah, not bad.
Not bad. Yeah. I mean, everyone's 2020 got fucked up. But I really, really, really went into 2020 being like, this is my year. Like things were looking up, recently separated, living on my own, wanting to do things, like had all these trips planned. And then I was like, well, shit happens and nothing's good. So I'm not planning anything
ever again.
Not doing it.
So dramatic.
Me? I've never been dramatic in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you make any New Year's resolutions?
No, I didn't. I have never made a resolution in my life.
Oh.
I think I'm pretty good already. Like I can't really think of things to improve on. Just kidding.
I feel like I'm perfect. I think everyone around me is what's making me grumpy.
Yeah, I think that everyone else needs to make resolutions and get better at things. Yeah.
Agreed.
No, I think it's partly that I'm kind of absent-minded about it. Most of the time I don't even really realize that it is a new year. I like to have the party on the 31st and the 1st. And then after that, I just go back to normal.
Yeah.
And if I notice things that I need to change about my life, I usually try and do it when I notice them.
So yeah, you're not waiting. Sometimes I like go into the new year and I'm like, I should like consider doing this. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like it's like things I've already been considering, but I've never been like, okay, January 1st, this is it. Clean health kick. I thought to myself, I should probably be like more healthy, but like I've thought about that for a while. And then on Monday and Tuesday, I had stale cookies for breakfast.
I had a cookie for breakfast today as well.
Yeah, like cookies that I made over 2 weeks ago. And they're like so hard. So I have to like slob on them a little bit to bite them.
You can dip them in your coffee to soften them up too.
Yeah, I also did that.
Good one. The thing is, if it's in December and you're trying to think of like, what should my resolution be? Then when you come up with it, why don't you just start then, right? So it could be like December 15th and you're like, I really need to think of my New Year's resolution. And you're like, aha, I am going to eat a piece of fruit a day, every day forever. Just start on the 16th. You've been saying, oh, I should like be a bit healthier. I should eat a bit healthier or something. And you've been saying it for 8 years. But
why didn't you just start? Because I have no motivation.
Honestly, I think it's because it's not specific. I'm going to be healthier. Like, what does that mean?
Yes, very true.
And I think you need to think of like what your goal is.
100%. Literally my entire profession is like finding goals and finding attainable ways.
Dude, apply it.
I know. It's like, okay, here, pick your goal. Don't just say like, I want to learn how to read. You're like, hey, I'm going to do this in order to do this in like, and this is the timeline I would like to do it in. Practice what you preach, apparently.
I guess I set a reading goal every year, but I forgive myself so easily as well, right? So like last year I set it for 35. Then it was a pandemic and I couldn't read. I'd just be like staring at the book, like not actually taking anything in, have no idea what's going on. I read 19, but I'm like, you know what? I read 19 books last year. Like that's still pretty sweet.
I've read a lot of children's books. Do those count? Someone I know had a reading challenge and they set their goal for 50 books and they read 63. I was like, how the fuck did you read 63 books this year? And I mean, like, I spend a lot of time looking at my phone. I could spend that looking at pages of a book.
I recently got an app called Untapped. I enter every different beer I've had, and I got it in July. And I've had almost 300 different beers in that amount of time.
Wow, cool.
And then I mentioned it to a friend because I was like, yeah, I'm really excited. Like I'm getting close to 300. And he's like, that's more than one per day. I'm like, and so I average more than one beer per day. Like, why you got to judge me for
Yeah,
that?
I didn't ask for that.
No, I'm not talking about math. I'm talking about beer, bud.
I think my New Year's resolution will be to get better at smoking weed because I think I'm really bad at smoking weed. I really like edibles, but I'm like really bad at smoking weed. Not that that should necessarily be a goal, but I have noticed like since I started doing the weed more, I'm drinking far less, which is like better for an overall goal of healthiness for me personally because like I'm not trying to like become like super skinny and super fit, but like I'm also not blind to the fact that like I should be aware of my weight and I should be aware of potential like health risks that could happen.
Alcohol is a lot of empty calories.
Yeah. And I'm not going to stop drinking. I'll net like,
no,
cheers to that. But I definitely have noticed a reduction in it.
For a while, a few years back, I was tracking my calories and I was working out very regularly, which is cool because you actually like really shock your system and change your metabolism. Because basically, your metabolism, all it wants to do is maintain your body.
Yeah.
So you need to shock it in order to be able to like get out of that loop. It did drastically change my body composition at that time, but now my metabolism just maintains it. I'm like, cool. Like I worked really hard a couple years ago and like really tracked things, got a little carried away because I'm very competitive and I like numbers and I like goals and I like to like be better than the goal. But when better than the goal means eat less, that's bad. Don't get carried away with that.
I remember the one time we were eating Timbits. You're like, I ate 40 Timbits and I put it in my tracker and I didn't like
it was like
the numbers.
2,000 and then
I didn't like the number, so I changed it to like 3 Timbits. I don't think it works that way, but mentally it works that way. It's fine.
It did because it made me aware that I shouldn't eat 40 Timbits, but I couldn't change the fact I already did it, but I could change the fact that I had to look at this number.
I am not confident that you wouldn't do that again.
So the reason I was tracking everything was more to see what I was taking into my body, right? So I was like, I see the nutritional value of a Timbit. I don't need to put it into 40 times. Like, that's fine. It's going to be the same. But I looked at it to see, did I hit my macros? Am I getting enough good fats? Am I getting enough protein? Yeah. Am I getting enough carbs? I eat only carbs. But it was more to get like a sense of like what good meals go together to be able to hit certain different goals.
Fair. That makes sense.
No one needs to see they went over their calorie goal by 3,000 calories. No, like
yeah, because it's not like that's like not the only snack you eat in a day. Last year I was doing Weight Watchers and I did it for a while. It was working. I lost 30 pounds. Like it was good. I was feeling good and then went on vacation and then the pandemic hit. And because I'm not going to stop drinking. I'm still going to go out. I'm still going to have nights. I'm still going to do whatever. But I wouldn't put beer in because then it would make me be like, oh, well, like I drank this beer. So I'm already at my like points for the day. And like, I was like, I don't want to restrict my like eating. And then I was like, went on this kick where I was like, I'll drink less beer. I'm going to start drinking like vodka sodas because it's a lot less like carbs and calories, but it was the same amount of points. I was like, they just don't want me to drink and that's not going to happen. So
it is true. So like if you put in the beer, then you're like, well, I already hit my intake for today. So then you're like, well, now I'm not going to eat dinner to make up for it, which is very bad because then that just means you're not getting any nutrients, which is not healthy, right? So yesterday I accidentally did have beer for dinner. And then I was like, oh my God, like I have to wake up at 5 and work by myself for 4 hours. So I just like mowed a chocolate croissant. Like that's not good for me either.
Tomorrow, it's all moderation.
I'm still like kind of on Christmas break right now. And so I think it's fine to really indulge like over the holidays. You want an overall balanced lifestyle, right? In other months, there might be no social events. If there's a whole bunch all at once, like, yeah, okay, so your pants get tight for a couple weeks, but like once you go back to your
I gotta wear stretchy pants.
This time of year, it is really important to, especially this year, because you don't really get to see people in the same way. So to be able to feel good and happy and have like a social experience with people, whether it be online or like outdoors or in your bubble or whatever, it's like really important to celebrate the good people in your life if you can, and typically that comes along with a lot of sweets, drinks, and I think it is important.
Yeah, with New Year's resolutions, I know we're focusing a lot on the biggest ones are like health. People are like, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna be healthy. Quitting smoking, or like, yeah, a lot of people are doing like dry Januaries and like things like that. But it's like, do whatever you want to do to.
What other types of resolutions are there? I know there are tons, but nothing is really coming to mind.
Yeah, I guess some people are like, I'm gonna spend less money, like I'm gonna spend less money on clothes, sort of like limiting like shopping or spending, or I'm not gonna order out as much, or like I'm gonna cook X amount of meals at home per week, or I'm gonna not buy my lunch.
Or maybe like learn a new skill. People kind of did that when the pandemic started. They kind of had
Yeah.
like mid-year resolutions this past year because they're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going into the office. I have more free time because I'm not commuting. So I'm going to take up a new hobby also to not get like depressed.
I took up cross stitching. What else?
Other things would be just like get outside more.
I want to walk more.
Yeah.
So I am doing a step challenge right now at work. Mine's going terribly. Today I've taken 745 steps. Yeah, I just want to walk more because I drive and I've always been a driver. It happens. And like, I don't really live around a lot of things. Like I just live around a lot of houses. So there's not really anywhere for me to even walk to. I walk to like the corner store to get a coffee sometimes. They have like a cafe. So sometimes I do that, but also like it's really hard for me to like just like walk with no destination per se.
I can do that very easily with other people, but I am not like an alone walker.
Yeah, and that's how I feel like. But my one friend said that I could go and walk her dog with her. But yeah, so just trying new things. I think other years I've gone into years being like, I'm gonna like just like have a more positive outlook. That's obviously not how I began this year.
But you can get there by the end of the year.
Yeah, by the end of the year.
You probably will have a more positive outlook in December than you do right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm feeling way better today. Like I'm not feeling nearly as like grumpy or negative. Just like woke up on the better side of the bed, which is funny because my bed's surrounded by walls on 3 sides. So there's only one side to get out of, but felt like a new side today. Maybe I'm feeling refreshed because I cut my hair.
Yeah, you feel lighter already. I cut my hair too.
Yeah, look at us. New year, new hair. But yeah, hopefully this is a better year. I think maybe another resolution I think that people have too would be like, I'm going to be on time, which you don't need to do.
People should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say like 7-ish.
Something else though could be like better housekeeping kind of thing, like just like general tidying, like decluttering your space. I moved here 2 years ago and the front blinds have been broken the entire time and we've always talked about replacing them. We finally bought curtain rods and curtains.
Ooh.
6 months ago, and we still didn't change them. So it's like making time, making it a priority because you know you need to make a change.
Yeah.
It's very easy to not prioritize, just to let it slip, keep it at the bottom of the list. Like it's always been on the list, but it's never made it to the top of the list.
If we think back to our habits podcast episode, I think that my New Year's resolution should be to stop pressing snooze.
Oh yeah.
Because I've not made very many gains on that. Yesterday I pressed snooze so much that I almost slept through my 8:00 meeting. And I was like, I probably press snooze. I press snooze from 6:30 to 7:30. That's too many times. That's like 6 times. That's too many. I'm gonna start setting an alarm clock, I think, in my living room. That's what I used to do. Because it's annoying if you just leave it.
See, so that's the thing. So you're doing very well already. You thought of something that you would like to change about yourself and a way to be able to do it that is actually attainable.
My actual New Year's resolution is to get 20 new pairs of Crocs this year. I'm just kidding. I love my Crocs, but I know that they're not like fashionable. Like I'm not doing it for fashion. If you look at me, you don't say, wow, that girl is out here for fashion.
Fashion Jones.
Yeah.
Another good resolution would be like to work on your communication skills.
Yes.
Whether it be like you want to write emails that are not misinterpreted, or you want to be able to be more assertive in how you talk to people so your message is clear, but just like being able to clearly communicate is very important.
I would argue that good communication is the most important skill about being like a solid manager. I think
it's like the most important skill in literally
in life. Communication.
In life.
Like if you cannot communicate, then like that's on you. I think, a lot of people too make resolutions like, I'm gonna be better at like responding or like reaching out to people. You can try to do that, but I also think it's like not to be at the expense of yourself. Like it's not your responsibility.
Yeah, I think a resolution, it's really important that it is something that you're doing for yourself.
Yeah.
You're
Even
not
with
gonna follow
communication, like if you don't want to be a better communicator, that's on you. Like it's may negatively affect you, but ultimately it's your choice. All right, Ray, for the first time in 2021, what are you drinking?
Today I am drinking Balls Falls Session IPA.
Ooh.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking Stocking Toe Clementine Pale Ale. All right, follow up. Oh, cheers. Sorry.
Cheers.
All right. Follow us on Instagram at just.wondering.podcast. Send us an email about your New Year's resolutions that you're trying this year, that you've tried in the past, maybe that you've succeeded, maybe that you've failed. Maybe you have ones that you've tried a lot of times.
The email's jenswonderingpodcast.ray@gmail.com.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Peace. Oh my goodness, on Christmas, my sister was like, I need to go change into my stretchy pants. And I'm like, I've been wearing stretchy pants and it doesn't help because it's my skin that's too tight.